Do you remember like when all the new internet companies came out and like now if you still have an AOL or Hotmail email address, we all like judge you? Like this will evolve. It's a choice whether to keep up with all the changes, but I do think it's good to take stock every once in a while of like, one, is AI needed for this at all? And then two, if it is, am I using like the best ones for my situation?
The whole AI thing is moving so fast and the government moves so slow.
Living in the moment, let's have some fun.
What happens when the business you've spent years building suddenly collides with one of the biggest technological revolutions in history? Do you ignore it? Do you fear it? Or do you reinvent yourself? Artificial intelligence is changing nearly every industry on Earth. Finance, healthcare, education, marketing, parenting, business, and whether we realize it or not, it's also changing leadership. Because leadership has never been about having all the answers. It's about recognizing when the world has changed and having the courage to evolve with it. Today's conversation isn't really about artificial intelligence. It's about adaptability, it's about stewardship, and it's about learning when to pivot without losing your purpose. Hi, I'm Aimee Rickabus. Welcome back to The Manage Her, the show where we explore what it really means to lead, not just in business, but in our homes, our health, our relationships, our communities, and ultimately ourselves. Because leadership isn't something women need to learn. It's something women have been doing all along. The question is, how do we recognize it, strengthen it, and use it to cultivate the life we actually want? So the question we're managing today is, how do women know when it's time to reinvent themselves? And how can AI become a tool that supports human wisdom instead of replacing it? Today's guest is someone many of you may remember. Stephanie Guttman is the founder of Huntress Wealth, and she joined us previously when her company was still taking shape. Back then, we talked about helping women become more financially confident and financially empowered. But one of the reasons I love bringing guests back onto the show is because leadership isn't static. Leadership evolves, businesses evolve, people evolve. Since our last conversation, Stephanie has made a significant pivot. Rather than watching AI transform her industry from the sidelines, she's chosen to embrace it. Today, she's developing an AI-powered financial education platform designed specifically for women, a tool intended to make financial education more accessible while helping women use artificial intelligence safely, responsibly, and confidently. Stephanie, welcome back to The Manage Her.
Happy to be here, Amy. Thanks
So
for
nice
having
to
me.
see you. So, Stephanie, the last time you were here, Huntress Wealth was still evolving. Today, you're building something completely different. Take us back. What happened between then and now?
Well, like in summary, TLDR, we have a personal finance app now. I believe when we last spoke, we are primarily offering membership, education, and guidance through experts in our network, but these were like live sessions that people were signing up for. It was a journey and a path. We knew all along this was going to be a tech company. We just, if we had built the software we originally envisioned 12 months ago, it would have been an entirely different app. And if we had taken this process, learned from customers, and frankly, AI has just like, even in the last 12 months, I know it's been in our lives for a few years now, but even the last 12 months has gotten a whole lot more practical. And so it really just shaped the direction that we're going today.
That's so exciting. Was there a specific moment where you realized like this changes everything?
Yeah, I it's hard to like specify like the lightning moment. It really was just a process of like hundreds, if not thousands, of different inputs from like talking with financial advisors, from talking with wellness providers, from obviously talking with potential customers, frankly, investors and their skepticism in some cases, and their look ahead on AI in other cases. So it was just a whole lot of different inputs that shaped this. I kind of wish there was the aha. Maybe it was like banging on the door the whole time, but it really felt like it evolved and is still taking shape.
That's so cool. Every entrepreneur eventually reaches a crossroads. How did you know this wasn't just another feature to add, but entirely new direction for your business?
Yeah, so I've actually been working in tech with AI for 7 or 8 years now. And so certainly the AI that we're all used to now is this chat experience. But I've been long a believer it's not, people don't necessarily, like there are some things you want AI to do for you, but these things that are really closely held and personal, you want AI to help you do it better. Right. And so I'm a big fan of almost like applied AI. So it's not just this chatbot feature. Like it would be so easy just to go add a screen to the app that's like, cool, go ask your finance questions here. But the thing is, most of us don't know what to ask, right? AI is actually kind of dumb sometimes if you don't give it the right information in the right context. And so I thought it was really important to wrap it inside, like give AI a job, like have it have very specific things it's supposed to go do. And it's a superpower in that way.
It really is. So true. One of the things we talk about often on my show is that women sometimes mistake changing their direction for failure. Did you ever struggle with letting go of the original vision, or did this new vision feel like a natural evolution?
Yeah. So officially, our mission is empower women to hold equal power in business, government, and society. And as long as we're marching in that direction, like the ideas are going to shift and change. And I'll say that's the vision I'm allowed to say. My co-founder like doesn't like it when I'm like, for the first like 3 months of this before we like developed our branding and our story and understanding better what we were doing. I was like, I just want to make women really effing rich. Like that was the North Star. And so part of that is like, I always knew tech was going to be a part of it because that's how we can make what's available to high net worth individuals and these like really white glove service environments accessible to other people. And we have to do it right. It's a really regulated industry. Like we're not like pushing any individual investment, right? Like there's like a lot of rules here, but we always knew tech was going to be a part of it. But I like the part that we've really had to work with is like we have these wonderful providers that were providing sessions for us, right? Like really, really fabulous people. And I want to help them build their businesses like they are one-on-one providers, right? And so when we moved away from that service model, there was this like, oh, but I want to help grow because they're mostly women too. Like I want to grow all of their businesses. I think we've found a way to incorporate them well that huntresses can still go find them to like, discover different providers that may be able to help them in different ways. But we got out of the middle of that experience and really started to focus on the tech.
That's so cool. And your industry is governed by the SEC, right? The Securities and Exchange Commission. Are they like the
There are
people who
so
kind of,
many different regulatory bodies.
yeah.
Yeah, SEC, FINRA, and then like anything on the banking side, there's a bunch of different regulators. Like it's, I don't know, acronym salad over here.
Yeah, it's cool. I just love to educate women on these things because I grew up with a mom who was always talking about SEC regs and stuff because she was doing private offerings and public offerings and those kinds of things. But, not a lot of women have heard of the alphabet soup that runs the financial world. So one of the things I would love to do is like slow down a little bit for the women who like aren't there yet, because I feel like a lot of us didn't quite have that education and want to we got to learn all the things.
Well, and I'd say on some level, unless you're fundraising or in the realm of like selling financial products or financial services, you don't need to know all of those letters. I think it's just really helpful to know which letters are thrown at you by providers as marketing and which ones are thrown at you as like actual regulatory bodies. So it's like I always talk about like fiduciary as the F word. Like, yes, everybody has to be a fiduciary, but the level required to be a fiduciary, like the bar is on the floor, right? Legally. Right. But so when someone's telling you, oh, I know what's best, I'm a fiduciary, it's like, no, actually, you should like question them more.
Oh, good. Is there anything else they're throwing at us that's just a marketing word? Because I'm new to this world too. Like I've never really used a financial investor, like a financial advisor ever in my whole life, and I'm 47.
The SEC has a website and FINRA has a website where you can go check. advisors like actual credentials. So you should go do that if you're looking at engaging with one. And it's like, you should expect a fiduciary. It's just when it's overly sold to you as marketing that I like get little alarm bells. Other ones to watch out for: anytime like insurance is sold as an investment product, like insurance is really important in your financial health picture, but it's not an investment. Like it is not an investment. And there's a lot of insurance brokers and salespeople out there that will position it as an investment. Also, like, alarm bells.
I have seen that. Okay, let's get back into the AI.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is that AI seems to amplify who we already are. Some people are leaning into curiosity, like me, and other people are leaning into fear. So where do you think that difference comes from?
Yeah, it's just like, you know how money can't make you happy? Like, I also think AI can't make you happy. There is some base level needs in our life, right? And I think of this both financially and AI wise. Like, there is a world where it is really helpful and it moves very real things out of your path. But then after that, there can be diminishing returns. And it really is like are you applying it in ways that are important and valuable? Like, are you going down rabbit holes, or does it, like, I personally have a value of discovery. I love learning new things. AI is incredible for, one, just learning AI. It's a new like playground, but two, AI really helps you find new information. Like, I love it. So it's really like your values. And I think there's some disposition and openness to change, right? Like, change happens and you can resist it or not. But I think there's this middle ground of like, it's good to be skeptical. It's good to like have caution and, one bite at a time. But at the same time, it is this like, the world is your oyster. It can be both.
Yeah. And we're really moving into this brand new world. So I'm so glad to have you here because I feel like we can learn a lot from you about how to be safe using AI, especially as it pertains to our personal information. Because I honestly didn't know this until I saw you. You had a clip on Instagram and you were talking about this. And I was like, oh, I gotta have Stephanie back on my show. We need to talk about this. Because if it's new to me, I'm like, oh, okay, not a lot of people know about
I
this.
was gonna say, I look to you for a lot of AI stuff, so I love that there's this mutual learning. I guess I do want to go into like AI safety. Is that
Can
good?
we talk about this a little bit? Like what's safe, what's unsafe, like especially for us as like the moms, the women, the people running the household, if we're using AI, like where do we draw the line with it? Like what is this all public information? Like what the heck is going on here?
Yeah. So much like we saw with social media and lots of other kind of industries out there, if you're not paying for it, you are the product, right? And so if you're using a free AI tool, they are absolutely using your data for training. Like, it is not safe and secure. And that's just from a data usage and privacy perspective. And so, there's a lot of places where AI is being like pushed on us. Like when you go to Google to search, you get Gemini's results at the top. You're not getting, and so even that makes me think of like, oh, and that's being tied to my profile, right? So it's just like everything you searched before, right? Is it getting associated with you? That's kind of happening with AI, right? And so something like, again, a financial practice that we can carry over to that pool of usage is like diversification. Like, I go to different AIs for different things. Like, I don't want one AI to know my medical information and questions about like the city where I live to maybe triangulate my address or like my financial data. Like, that is all diversified, right? Just in my day-to-day usage. Other things is just like, don't upload sensitive information to these AI models. Like, if like AI is wonderful for analyzing transactions on your bank account, don't go upload it to a free AI. It has your name at the top and just it requires some, if you wouldn't like go post it on the town bulletin board, like don't go put it into a free AI system. I can just keep rolling.
That's super smart. No, you're right. That's a really good way to look at it, Stephanie. I've never really thought of it that way. It's such a fabulous tool, and a lot
Mhm.
of times, like, I had a question about tax planning, and so I was talking to ChatGPT about coming up with a more like just kind of give architecting a strategic tax plan.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, we could do this, this, and this, and this. Just upload all of this information, and I'm like, no.
And that's just it. So you can ask all the questions, right? But it can't give that personalized advice without all of those details, which is why you should like one, go work with a professional because AI can be wrong. And then two, it's if you are paying for a service, if you have a subscription, like their data usage terms are different. I still practice diversification. Like I never put like I use one for my work stuff and one for personal, right?
Yeah, me too. I really try to separate it. I do. And then I have three that I use. I love Claude. I love
Mhm.
ChatGPT for the show, actually. It's my favorite
Mhm.
thing for the show. It knows everything about my books and all my podcasts, and it's like the best writing assistant ever. I love it
Yeah.
so much. It saves me literally 8 hours a week.
Yeah.
But I use Grok for mostly like if I have like random questions, just like my kids are like, "Hey mom, where, when was Mesopotamia?" or like some random thing that my kids are asking questions about, I always just go to Grok. Or
Yeah.
even if I have a little bit more of a specific question, because Grok doesn't have a memory, I feel a little safer there. And I do pay for it. I pay
Yeah.
for my chat, my Claude, and my Grok. So, but I still feel like I'm being profiled because
And you
anytime
are.
I'm on any technology, I do know like it does have the potential to be building a profile on you. Everything.
It
You
actively
know,
is, right?
right?
Like that,
Yeah.
and it's to provide you better service, right? But it's also the more that gets concentrated there, the bigger that risk is, right?
Oh,
That's the other thing is like, I think there's also a layer of discernment of do I need AI for this? And then, frankly, which AI? Like, understanding kind of these bigger models are trained on data on the internet, right? But they don't, they all have like some nuance in the types of data that they have access to or that are feeding the models. And so, like, Grok is like really heavy on human conversation, right? Not necessarily, like, I'm sure it has plenty of layer to bring in facts and expertise too, but like, it's largely what 140 characters and now 280 characters of information at a time as it's like differentiating training base. And so it really just knowing that in like Google has the entire internet indexed. And so that's why its information is a lot more like, and here's your source. Here's the 5 things that support the thing I'm telling you, right? Which some of the others do now too. But I would expect Google's Gemini to be the best at that. And so it's really just, they're all a little, they have different flavors. And it's kind of hard to see the differences sometimes. So like ChatGPT and writing, they may or may not have stolen access to a whole bunch of books that they did not have licenses to.
no way.
So like there's reasons why different ones are have like are have different skill sets than others.
Wow. I mean, and then Claude's supposed to be more human in the way that it answers. Like it's the whole anthropic, like culture philosophy of Claude. Do you use Claude at all?
Oh, Claude is core one for the business for
Good.
me.
Like
And I think
co-work? Are you doing
I
it?
use both chat and cowork. And then our team uses Claude Code. I don't touch it, even though I should probably learn that one too. Claude is set up more for businesses, and ChatGPT is going more that way too. The strategies are evolving. Like this is the early days, right? Like, do you remember like when all the new internet companies came out and like now if you still have an AOL or Hotmail email address, we all like judge you. Like this will evolve. And so like it's a choice whether to keep up, right, with all the changes. But I do think it's good to take stock every once in a while of like, one, is AI needed for this at all? And then two, if it is, am I using like the best ones for my situation? Which brings me to my final point, which is I think the future of AI for us is not going to be these generic mass data, the frontier models like the Claude and the chat GPTs that we're dealing with. It's not going to be just the chat interface, right? Chat was a breakthrough for ChatGPT and for OpenAI because it became a really easy, low stakes way for us to discover how AI works, right? And then that's the model that everywhere has copied. But it is far from the most powerful use of AI, and frankly, even maybe some of the safest uses of AI, because that's so open ended. So, what we're building with Huntress, and I think it's this world of applied AI, there's lots that happens in Huntress that is not AI driven, right? Like all of our core pieces and pillars, there's other ways to get information in there and to process and use that information. But when you turn AI on, so one, we're giving you that control because you don't, like, some people are very against it, and that is fine, right? When you turn it on, bits and pieces, just enough information goes out to the AI model to get the answer and come back. It's not your whole profile. It's not like how you're feeling about money this week and, you're worried about your job or you got this big inheritance that nobody knows about, right? Like it's just taking the very, and that's we actually haven't rolled the AI pieces out yet because we're taking a great care in figuring out what is the least amount of information we can send out to a model anonymously without your name, without your email address, right? And what is the smallest amount of information we can send out and get a helpful answer back? Like when you're interfacing with a chat model, that's not happening, right? It is in context of everything else versus that. It's like, I'd really love to only send the data through that they need to know to get us this answer.
That's a really smart way to look at this whole thing. So let's slow it down. Okay, so let's talk about your new platform. What inspired you to build this AI powered financial education experience specifically for women?
Yeah, so building for women is we're just going for gender equality, and women are getting more and more of the money, and we want everybody to be confident in how they're using it, but also just have it align with your values, right? Like we're very excited for women to hold equal wealth and for women to hold equal power. So that's our why. But there's also this notion of when we build for women, it helps everyone, right? Like finance apps are a dime a dozen, right? You've got your net worth trackers and your budget managers, but what's really missing is the like strategic apps, like your planning apps. And that's because like none of us care. Okay, we care, but it's really hard to identify with like your 65-year-old self or your 90-year-old self, right? Like, so we bring it all into today's terms. But what we learned from working with women is that half of the equation is how much you have. The other half is how you feel about it and how you think about it and the decisions you make. And so that's where our mindset piece comes in. And it's not that men can't benefit from that. It's just like we listened to women when building this and we think it will help everyone, but it's we've heard it's your relationship with money. It's not just the math.
Well, when women have better relationship with money, I think their husbands benefit from that as well. You see a lot of women who have like secret spending addictions, that run credit cards up in secret, and their husbands have to deal with that. So I think that us tackling the issue of, financial education and how to be a good steward of your money, because, we have to take care of ourselves today, tomorrow, and in the future for
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and for our children. Otherwise, our poor kids get stuck with us and we have no money left. And what do they do with us? Right. So it's a really important, question. Think it was Melissa Northway I was talking to, and she said the majority of the elderly poor are women.
Mm-hmm.
And
They are. Like Social Security was massive for women's equality because it became the baseline for everyone. When it was usually we live longer, right? And we get to retirement with 40% less wealth.
wow, that's a lot less.
That's a lot less. And so like certainly some of it is spending behavior, a lot of it is just not investing according with what you want out of life.
Yeah, well, we're not on the golf course talking to each other about, investments the way that guys are.
Mhm.
Honest to God, we really aren't. I hear my husband talk about the things that his buddies are talking about when they're out playing golf and they're talking about, investing in a real estate syndicate together and, we're
Mhm.
gonna pick up this building and that building. And it's like not just one group of guys that are doing this. It's like all of his friends that are doing this, and none of my friends are doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had a single friend. bring an investment to me, right? Like I'm active in some communities, like seeking it out, which is nice because we have lots of other ways to socially interact and get value from our friends, right? But adding investments to that would be amazing.
I really think so. I think it's important that we start having these kinds of conversations where it's like, how can we grow and build wealth together as women? Because we're so good when we're, working together on projects. In fact, I'm working on a project right now and I'm so excited about it. It's my very first real estate project that I'm getting back into. And totally Lundgren inspired me with the whole manage her syndicate thing. And
Mhm.
I'm so excited to test the water with that right now.
Yeah.
I picked up my first piece on Friday.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
This is
Yay.
this is the high point.
I know. I'm like, okay, here we go. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna test it. We'll run a test run on the thing. And if it holds water, we'll make it go. But it's really so fun to get back into. I love that mindset of, I wanna think and grow rich together. Not by
Yeah,
myself. Like I love that book, Think and Grow Rich, but I don't want to think and grow rich by myself.
exactly. Well, and I think the growing rich, both it can inspire you to do it, but also it just gives you so much more purpose if you know what it's for, right? And it's like a lot of people just want to get really rich to feel the sense of like safety or like sometimes power or control, right? And when you are doing it because you care massively about this thing and you get like money behind that, right? It becomes way more real and just way more like rich feeling, you know?
Absolutely. And I do see that in women's businesses. I see that there's this gravitas in it, this like real purpose, this like gravity to the feeling that they feel about the way what their work, the potential that their work can bring to the world. Where I oftentimes will see in a man in business, I'm generalizing, but they're kind of looking at the bottom line. How much money can I make? But I really do see when you combine the gravitas of like how this will change the world plus making the money, all of a sudden you really have now we've tapped into human potential. Now we're not just tapping into like what we've been sold. And this is my next book, Stephanie, who goes into this so hard. The Cultivate Her is going deep on this subject of, because I really realized growing up in a very wealthy neighborhood that money was not going to make me happy. But I realized when I was down in Costa Rica, I was 17 and I had no hot water except for the what what ran across the pipes from the sun getting heated up and no glass in the windows and one TV in the whole town. But the people were so happy and I was so confused because they didn't have much. They didn't even have paved roads and they were so happy. And I went back to my guard gated neighborhood and everybody was so separated and so almost like being wealthy can make you self-isolate because you can get afraid of people when you have money. Like they wanna take it away from you, and that was really what I saw was, man, these people who have less are way more connected to each other, and for humans, connection seems to be the thing that actually makes us happy.
Mhm.
Happy. So it's like,
Which
how can we connect becoming wealthy and managing half of the wealth of the world and still remain and become even happier, more connected, less lonely than we are right now as humans and as females?
yeah. I think it's funny because it's certainly in the world of AI, this is even a bigger statement, right? Like when like you see like people developing relationships with AI and it's like, but if you're lonely and that's a tool to solve that, but does that count as connection, right? And does that hit like the little like releases in the brain that we need when we relate to another human?
I think we're only getting dopamine hits from it. I don't think you're able to get the oxytocin and the serotonin hits that you get from real relationships. And sadly, for women, like we're powered by oxytocin. So
Mhm.
we really need real connection, like being in a room full of women together, that physical togetherness is actually what we
Mhm.
need. We need to hold a child. We need those that's how we get oxytocin. So, if you're falling in love with your AI, you may be getting
Is it love?
dopamine from that relationship,
Yeah.
which we associate with love, but you're really not getting a well-rounded neurological experience from it.
Well, and all the other support, right? Like AI isn't like financially supporting your future. It's not like it's such a one-way street, you know? And when you think of relationships as like, yeah, there's this connection and the dopamine and oxytocin, but you can rely on people and you can't rely on AI. I think there's this world of like, when we look at, I love like studying billionaires,
Yeah,
right? And
me
we
too.
look at like male billionaires and it is this like isolation or competition or they're on the third wife or whatever, right? And you look at female billionaires, and most of them have left those men, but they're giving all their money away, or at least that's what the headlines are about. And
Yeah.
I don't think there has to be, and I don't think you have I'm like one part team, like billionaires shouldn't exist. We should tax them more and make that harder to do. But
Nah.
two, you can have connection and community and money, right? We often hear of these as like, but I don't think you're going to be happy if you don't also have community, right? Like money doesn't
100%.
make you happy. It's all these
Not at
other
all. In fact, money makes you way more whatever you already are.
yeah.
If you
An
had a
enable
little bit of a
happiness.
drinking problem, you're going to have a big one. If you had a
Yeah.
little bit of a gambling problem, you're going to have a big one. Like whatever you are, money amplifies it.
Yeah. Well, if you have a fantastic community,
Oh,
right, that you regularly lean on, money amplifies it, right? Like it
totally.
amplifies the bad and the good. So it's about like building your purpose and your values. And that doesn't, I hear this coming out of my mouth, and that doesn't always mean it's philanthropic, right? But
Yeah.
it could be real estate, it could be businesses, it could be politics, right? It's just like using your money to enact your values is makes it even better to have more money. Like it's just like good for everyone.
But even the money that we have, even as non-billionaires, it's like, we as women, we spend, what is it, like 78% of every dollar in our household, and we get to vote with our dollars. Like every dollar that you spend is an act of you enacting your ethics, your morals on the world. So if you don't agree with something, don't buy it.
I think of that as a business owner too. I was just like reviewing our different options for API connections, which are like data connections to
Yeah.
other things. I was like, which of these are owned by women? Like I actually asked Claude, I was like, which of these businesses have like solid representation of women in their leadership? And it like gave me a breakdown of like percentage wise and which roles like women were in these different options. And it definitely influenced my like I'm not fully decided yet. I'm still researching, but it was a big data point for me.
Absolutely. No, I love that. I always try to make my downstream in my tech companies, women leadership, wherever I can pick someone up and give her that opportunity. Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It's our consumer dollars and it's our business dollars, our spending and our investments. And frankly, I look at employment that way. Like part of
Yes.
going out and starting a business was like, I've never directly reported to a woman like in my whole career. And I was like, that's on my bingo card. Like I need to go do that. It's like, turns out I'm reporting to myself right now. But I'm a woman, I count.
Yes, you count.
But how we spend our time and like we create economic value, right, through all of these different things. And it's like being and in your AI usage, right? It's like being like discerning about the things you use, spend, where you work, like all of it.
All of it. Yeah,
The
I
arguments.
think we feel so disconnected from our everyday lives, like it doesn't matter the choices that we make, but really feel like I'm hoping that AI gives people enough of a break from the mundane tasks that they realize that they can start to take a breath and realize that every little thing that we do, the little
Mhm.
things are actually the big things. It's that how we show up every day, where we put our attention, where we put our intention, how we purchase, what we think about, how we even bring thoughts into our mind, whether they're negative or positive, fear or love, like all of these things. For me,
Mhm.
that's what AI has done for me personally. It's allowed me to have more time to really ponder the philosophy of life itself.
Yeah, I loved that you were the one who shared on our podcast, Talk Rich, to me, the like, this is the best thing for women. AI is the best thing for women since the washing machine. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much it can take off your list that you don't want to do, right? And so you
Yeah.
can lean in and use your brain power and your human potential on other things, right? Like,
Yeah, I love it. Like even at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it's 3:30. What's for dinner? I don't know, chat. Tell me, what should I make for dinner tonight?
see,
Give me
I
some options because I'm
I love food too much that I'm like, that's actually the part of my human potential I love leaning into.
You're gonna love the recipes though. I actually have found some of the best recipes from ChatGPT and I am shocked. But my pot roast is actually and ChatGPT helped me with that. And also my braised beef tacos. Woo. And
Oh,
ChatGPT helped me with that too. So
all
it's
right, we're gonna
surprising.
need to take, I've got a carnitas recipe, so we'll swap those and
Yes. Yes. It's
AI
funny.
and human potential, a human connection.
It really is. I love it because it kind of gets me a little bit because it does know, okay, well, you like to use I love my Dutch oven.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, well, you have that. So why don't you try this recipe and that? So, because you need something that's more summery now. You can't cook something for winter. So that's usually like, how can I adapt something that I feel like cooking? But now it's another season and it's out of season. So what do I do?
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
That's
Here we go. AI is showing up all over for women, in lots of different places where we can lean into it.
yeah.
Why not take access to this tool? I do in my next book, which will be coming out in November. I do, a whole chapter on, AI and human potential. And it's the very end of the book because my early reader was like, it's too jarring if it's too early, like really developing human potential. And then I kind of lean into, and now we have this new tool that
Yeah.
basically can remove the mundane tasks so that we have more time to do higher level things
Yeah.
that women have never been able to do before.
Yeah. It's, I think that's the like the really important emphasis is like AI is wonderful, but it is just a tool. It's not going to give you human potential, right? It is something you can employ and put to use and be in charge of, right? It's the arrow in your quiver kind of thing to go like tackle certainly lots of different things, but the things that you're least interested in doing, right? And then you can apply yourself, right? But it's just a tool. Like it's
I've
not
seen,
magic.
no, it's not magic.
There's an
No, and
algorithm. Like
No, and I've seen the way the best practices that the Fortune 50 have applied AI within their workforce, and the best use of AI is really in alleviating the mundane. Like if there's real mundane tasks that higher level, higher educated people are still doing, if we can take those off of their plate, they can actually do something that they can use their brain for. And I see this potential in women, especially because we do so much invisible labor. And now we're gonna have all this extra mind share. And it means that we need to dig into things like getting good at financial education and learning how to be good stewards of our money because we're going to have time to do this finally. We're going to have tools to do this. And I really feel like as we move into this next era, the thing that women really need to come into is this place of stewardship and how can we cultivate ourselves, each other, our children, our partners, and how can we become better stewards of the planet that we have here, of the children that are on this planet now. And if we have less of that mundane work, I think that we're going to be able to really get after this thing.
very much so. It's like we are leaders of the household. We are leaders in business, right? I just feel like there's going to be so much more of that and that's not just, I was going to say, it shouldn't get in the way of challenging those invisible labor conversations, right? Because then I think it becomes invisible AI usage. And if you look at the Fortune 500, they're like they've backed off now, but they were tracking like AI usage and who was using it the most and like giving them the most credit, right? But if I've talked with so many people who like women who are using AI at their jobs and their bosses are just pushing them to use it more and more. And I think some of it is because their bosses don't see what they're using it for, right? And it's maybe the boss didn't value that part of their job anyway. And so then it's considered like a low value usage of AI. So it's like all how you position it of like, oh, it took that off my plate. It was like, oh, this project you are proud of me for, I was able to do it because all this crap work you never recognized anyway, AI is doing now, right? And I think there's still this like sense of like claiming credit, even if you're just directing the AI, like that is a skill set and that is powerful, right? And making sure people see that power, and that counts in the household too, right? Like if AI is doing the meal planning and your partner just thought food magically appeared every evening, right? Like you're still doing that job. You're still thinking, does this need to get done, right? And you still need to get credit for that. And so it needs to be a conversation of like challenge them. How are you using your AI, right? Like,
I do. I do. And I think because
yeah.
I think that it's really important. I think one of the ways we get better at using AI is by having conversations with our spouses about how they're using it. Like, what did you use AI for today? Like, how did you use it in your work? Because it's funny, I was definitely the early adopter of AI in our house. And I think my husband saw that I was like, whoa, here I am, like writing books and shooting podcasts. And how am I doing all this? And, he was like, I better hop on this whole, he's like, will you help me? Will you teach me? And I'm like, I'll help you play with it because all you really need to learn is how to be curious with it. The first step is to have a curiosity about AI and then just with an adventurous and curious spirit kind of approach it because it's not really like you can break it. You can't. Just don't tell it your personal information.
Okay, so here is actually the other thing. It can break things. Only play within the level that you understand what is going on. And if you don't know what's going on, ask it to explain it to you or give like the explicit, like ask permission before you do anything. Like give me information, don't make changes. Because like when you get into the world of like Claude Cowork, it is rewriting files on your computer. It is using other like Claude Code and Claude Cowork can use other programs on your behalf. AI can go make purchases for you.
You're so right. It has taken leaps and bounds because I haven't really jumped into the co-work world. I know I have a lot of people who work for me who have,
Mhm.
and for that reason, I haven't had to do it myself, I think. If you're even chat is now just recently, like within the last week, was like, hey, I can look at your calendar and I can actually create your podcast interview style for the client for the next person on the show just by looking at your calendar and seeing who's on the calendar. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that sounds cool. Let's try that. But you're right. Now it's reaching out to bigger things where before it was kind of in its own little box and you were
Yeah,
just
you
kind
ask
of
a
playing.
question, it gives you an answer. It's like
That
a
was
search.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It has in just even ChatGPT in the last week or so has now made that transition into I know, I feel bad for the people who haven't jumped in on it yet because it is getting a little more complicated.
That's where like I would personally like I don't even put my credit card on my browser to like I purposely make checkout harder for myself on websites. I would never give my credit card or banking information to an AI. And the never statement on that is these general purpose population AIs where like little old me has no chance of having the time or money to win a lawsuit against one of these behemoths, right? Like if something went wrong. And until there's like credit or insurance like practices in place around this kind of stuff, like I would never let it run with my money. And that's important as I think of there is a tool that I use. It's called Ava, and it's a brand new app that's now on the App Store, but I was a private beta user for a while. And it does connect to my email and to my calendars. And I think there might even be more stuff I can connect it to, or they're in the works on other things. And that was the first time that I was like, okay, yes, AI, you can look at these things. And that was a little bit because I was like, I know the founder and I was helping a friend out, right? It took a lot for me to say yes on
So is that
connecting.
AVA, Ava?
Ava, yes. It's the Ava, it's a AI household manager, and it reads your email to look for stuff related to your household or kids, like appointments or like to-do list items. It will recommend them like events to your calendar, and then you can accept the events or not. And it learns. And so if you say like, "Hey, I don't want any of the things from that emailer," right? Like it will ignore them all. But it can help with meal planning. It can help. It's a great tool. But what I think is really is like I connected my email to that, which I view as very private. Yeah, it's mostly junk mail, but there's also private stuff, right? And information about your kids and what you bought and stuff. So I was like, I really had to think through, should I press yes? And my ultimate answer for pressing yes was Ava is a separate company from the rest of these things. It has very intentioned purpose for reading my email, and it is helpful. So like, is it helpful? Is it intentional? And is it separate? Like it's not sending my calendar information back to, like, I don't know what, I think it's using Google as its underlying model that it sends stuff to, but it's like Google doesn't have access to everything, and the data's with Ava. And so that's where this world of like applied AI and keeping it separate is really, really valuable. And I think of that even with connections. And so if I were ever to give my credit card to something, right, saying it's like, hey, AI, you can go use my credit card, it would be something that is big enough to have security testing and like product testing, like very, very to the nth degree, but small enough that like I could go do something about it if I had to. Like if it went wrong, right? Like
Right? And then, like, you wanna make sure that they have, like, cybersecurity, cyber insurance, all of that stuff too,
the
because
cyber insurance, I think, is
yeah,
the
we have
big
to have cyber insurance for our company, and a lot of it too. So I'm just excited to see how this develops with a governing body around AI, because it is kind of in the Wild West still, and it doesn't seem to have a governing body within
I
the
was like, are we
federal.
getting one? Please tell me.
We need one. I feel like with women around and us all talking about AI, I think it's something that's gonna happen. I know the women at NAWI, the National Association of Women in AI, are definitely gunning for some guidance here. We need some parameters around this stuff. We need oversight, government oversight. I'd love to see those kinds of things kind of where we know, okay, and now you guys need cyber insurance and
Mhm.
we need to have a certain level of privacy here. And yeah, I'd love to see some rules around this, just like other companies have to have insurance and we have to comply.
Think of, so like when you have a credit card and your credit card gets stolen, right? Like that happens and you get fraudulent charges. If you are with certain credit card companies, they like no questions ask reimburse it, right? They issue you a new card. They're like, oh, we'll take those charges off and like it doesn't count. And that costs them money to go do. Like most of the time, they're not actually getting that back. And those are the kinds of practices I would want to see with any AI company that has access to my purchasing information, right? And it's like there's just like some very practical solutions that exist in the rest of business, right? It's just like we haven't caught up in the world of AI on that. There's whole startups that have lost their entire code base.
The whole AI thing is moving so fast and the government moves so slow.
They still haven't caught up on regulating social media. Like
Right. Yeah,
we're
and
still
here we are.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and social media is what, like 15 years old now?
Facebook went non-EDU addresses my like senior year of, so like 20 years ago.
20 years and still not regulated. Well,
Still
AI
not right.
cannot go this long without regulation. AI is going to need to have a governing body with sooner rather than later. There needs to probably be a governing body around AI within the next year.
Yeah.
By
It's
2028 max. I'd like to see it. I know. Good
it,
luck.
there's whole startups that have had their like code base wiped because they let AI do stuff too much, like without guardrails. It was a car rental software. So a bunch of car rental agency like couldn't rent cars for like 3 days because their reservation software, like it just disappeared. It like didn't exist. They had to go back 3 months on data. And so like 3 months of reservations lost for all of their customers So like, yeah, you need cyber insurance for that. But it's just and that wasn't because it's an AI tool. It's because they were using AI tools, and that's a business setting. But like, we as individuals need to only do what you understand and go understand more, right? You don't have to like try everything all at once. You can we learn by doing. So just do a little bit more and you'll get there.
Yeah, that's such a good advice. So, historically, qualified financial advice hasn't always been accessible. Getting back to your tool, do you believe AI has the potential to democratize financial education?
Yeah, so I view us as living somewhere between advice and education. And I'm sensitive as saying that because, like, coaching, there's a lot of financial coaches out there that are good and plenty that are like maybe not great, right? And so it's this like unregulated area. Before, if you wanted, you had to know what to ask for financial education, you had to like go look for it. And maybe you didn't know about something until you were in a situation to deal with it, and then you go look it up. And so we're trying to be a little bit more proactive than that, but we are short of financial advice. Like, we are not telling you what investments to go buy, and or there's a lot of different rules on that. But like, we're staying away from those things because there's so much you can do to manage your money short of that. And frankly, if you need financial advice, go to a financial advisor, and you still might need to work on your relationship with money and use Huntress, right? And so AI helps us. Again, our app exists without AI, right? When you turn AI on, it personalizes it and it gets that much more proactive. And so there's only so much that like every financial article on the internet is just applying to literally people who make $20,000 and people who make $200,000, right? And it's applying to people who were 50K in debt and people who have $3 million. Like, they don't know. It's not personalized at all, right? So there's all these caveats, and it's just like the middle of the road, no edge case, like education. And so when you bridge a little bit more personalization on top of that, an AI can help adapt that advice for situations without getting into actual investment advice. So it makes like working with an advisor, you need usually at least 500K in assets that they can go invest. That's a barrier, right? And then you have to trust someone else with your money,
That's
right?
my
And that's
barrier.
an even bigger barrier. And it's AI brings, there's a lot of what financial advisors do that is really just helping you feel okay and like stay the course, set the plan and stay on plan. That is like the biggest value of an advisor, is like helping you freak out when the stock market drops. Like, don't go do anything. Just write it out, right? And they will say they act as therapists, right? Like, when people are worried and scared, they call. And I think we can help people feel comfort in their future and in their portfolio without, I mean, we still support calling a human if you need to, right? But there's some level of support that we can provide you. And again, AI helps tailor it a little bit to your situation and the way you want to hear it, right? The way that's like motivating for you. Like, if you hate to be told you did something wrong, it will like just help you see what you could do more right. like it can adjust a little bit to temperament and personality as well.
That's pretty cool because we really want to see it as women becoming more financially confident.
Mhm.
So we're not so financially dependent on our spouses because we should really be investing, getting ready for retirement, having some sort of a plan, financial plan for when we get older because we are all getting older, whether we want to admit it or not.
Mhm.
And it's not the worst thing in the world.
There's this very baseline that you need to know what's going on. You need to know where everything is, you know how much there is, but then there is this injecting what you want into the picture. Every time I hear someone just be like, oh, my husband's handling it, it's like, I am A-okay if he's handling the administration, like literally like, hey, move money from here to there, or like, oh, I do need to put this person in as beneficiary. But it should be a conversation as who to make the beneficiary. It should be a conversation as like, oh, why is the money in that account? Right? Or what is our strategy? So there's definitely knowing what's going on, but then engaging in the why of the money, right? And it's like, I don't like absolutely delegate physically pressing buttons and calling places, right? Like, I don't care. But the engaging in it is just fundamental. And again, AI helps you figure out what to ask, or can help you realize what's important to you, can help you develop that strategy, can help you communicate as partners.
As women, I think that's one of the biggest things we need to learn is how to communicate about money with our partners, so that we feel equal in the financial strategies that are ongoing, that will be providing for us, providing for our children, providing for college educations, providing for whatever we want to provide for ourselves and for our grandchildren or children, or being able to have those conversations. But I feel like we have to come from a place of knowledge, know what we're talking about, so that we can feel confident about engaging in those kinds of conversations. I don't want to jump into a conversation and not know anything about it.
Yeah, I fear that a lot of women have that concern that they're not going to be heard, right? And certainly understanding financial stuff is really helpful for having that confidence that you're going to be heard. But we don't have to wait till we're perfect at it. Knowing what you want, right? Being able to articulate this is what's important to me, right? Comes first. And that is still like it's evolving. It's never done figuring out what we want, but that is always like a good baseline level of communication is like, hey, it's important to me that we do XYZ in life. Or like, I don't ever plan to retire because I love doing this business. Or when we retire, I want it to look like that. Or there's this thing that I want to financially support that's super important to me. And like, that is the baseline communication. That's actually the strategy. The how to go line it up is important to understand too. That's a learning process. And it's you don't have to wait till you understand it to engage.
Okay, so once you have your like why and what you want, then where do you go? Then what do we do? What's the next step?
Well, download Huntress.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
Huntress
like
app.
legitimately, we help translate, we help you figure out what you want. There's this whole mindset component, and we help you translate into financial goals, map your assets to it, and then there's actions which you can use again without AI, or you can turn AI on and it will recommend actions to you based on the rest of your financial picture. It is a translation process, and I hope we're holding hands with women walking down that path, right? I don't want to pull or push. It's just like we want to be there with you and meet you where you're at, and help you achieve all your goals.
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, we've never had anything like this before as women. So I'm excited to see women creating tools for women. I think that this is really where the fourth industrial revolution starts to get real juicy. It's, women leaning into technology that will then help women, upskill in different areas of their life where they maybe have been deficient before. It's just too cool.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
I know, it's so cool. So we got into talking about, yeah, using AI wisely. We've talked about, okay, so no social security numbers,
No
no
social
bank
security,
information, no
no
cr-
bank
no
information,
credit cards, no
nope,
passwords,
no passwords.
no medical records.
I love, yes, keep going. You got
What about my children's information? That idea?
I don't even let my kids picture on the internet. I refer to her by initials and not name, even when using AI.
Amazing. My client's information? Bad idea?
Absolutely not. And
Okay.
none of your business information unless you're on a business account.
Okay. And my proprietary business information? Probably not a good idea.
Again, on a paid account that is a business account, potentially, I would still even be guarded as to what secret sauces you put on there.
That's really smart. That's really smart. Yep. I know. I just don't think that, it's not like our moms could teach us this.
We're teaching our moms.
Exactly. I mean, your mom's supposed to teach you everything, but our moms do not know this. We are teaching our moms this. Yes. And we're teaching our daughters at the same time. We are in the middle on this, but we also grew up in just transformational technology for our entire lifetime. We were talking about this off camera. It's like you're talking about AIM chat rooms. And I mean, we made the cell phone transition. And I mean, during our lifetime, we've seen massive changes in technology, I didn't think the internet was going to take off. I'm like embarrassed to like admit that now, but I really didn't think it.
Amazing.
Back when it would made all those squealy noises, I was like, how is this going to really? This is
Now
cool.
I'm imagining like the startup like Ethernet connection sound like when our app is loading. Funny.
Just couldn't, I was like, I don't know, man. This is supposed to be like the big thing, but it makes like a squealing pig noise as you start it up. I don't know. This is going to work.
And here we are
Here we are. It doesn't do that
conducting
anymore.
an entire podcast via internet.
Via AI platform with Riverside AI. I know, it's wild, isn't it? So I know we've come a long way in, I feel like the transformation for me, it really has been happening my entire lifetime. I feel like from the very early 80s into the 90s, there was a big, we went from analog to digital with CD players and all that stuff. So we've made lots of transformations through our lifetimes, but now we're really having to use that past historical information into like how to adapt a safe practice for ourselves and for our children and for our parents into this new world using only what we know about how technology evolves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing? What are you doing like to keep your kiddos like safe?
My daughter is 7, and I think of it. I shared with you we just started an allowance this year, right? And she very much so associates like, oh, I clean my room, I get an allowance, and I keep like telling her like that cleaning your room is an expectation we have of you. I'm giving you an allowance because I want you to learn how to use money, right? I want you to learn how to make decisions with money. And so we have to put a little bit in her hands so she can make those decisions, right? And that's why we do allowance. People want to teach different things with the process. That's what we teach. I mean, the internet is this like on my to-do list of things. It's like something we do together, right? And when she sees I'm on it, I will tell her what I'm doing. I will talk about like safety like she knows her face isn't allowed on the internet, right? Like she knows these things. And so we've only like barely talked about AI. And I know other moms who are like building apps with their kids and stuff that are like very AI forward. And I'm not against it. It's just I go back to like for everyone making sure AI is useful. And so when there are things that AI will help with, I want to introduce her to AI. But she isn't like asked to create a video on XYZ that using AI would be helpful, or like she doesn't have research projects at school yet. Like there's this like I want her to see it as something we apply versus this like world we live in. So I don't have all the answers. How are you doing it? What's your
I
AI?
mean, the scary thing. I mean, I have got, the 27. She's off and like very much has a kind of too personal relationship with AI. I think this is partially so that we can, have this conversation with the 20 something year olds who might be having a little bit too personal of conversations with their AI. I'm not really realizing how public the information actually is. It feels like a private space to have really personal conversations, but I just don't know if that is the case. I don't think so. And then I've got my like 17-year-old who it's just like, how do you use AI as the new search engine when you're doing a research paper and then cite it properly when you use it? Because you can use it. You just have to you really have to go into the techniques of how do you cite your work if you're doing a research paper using AI, which is technical. I mean, there's a whole, I feel like anytime you write anything now in school, they're basically if you do it in like a Google Classroom or a Google Doc, there's a way that they can actually replay exactly how you constructed your document.
Mhm.
So if you just copied and pasted it, they're going to see that. If you copied and pasted like sections of it, they're going to see that. Or if you're typing it, they're actually going to be able to analyze if you're typing it and reading off of something, or if you're typing it and actually creating it out of your mind. So I'm trying to like make my kids aware that yes, this is a tool, but It's also a trap with school because you can really get yourself in big trouble real fast. Like it seems like a shortcut. It also has all of the answers. But what I've realized using AI is when you get the answers too quickly, you don't have a lot of retention for them.
Right.
When you have to search for answers and it's that like discovery process and it's more of a slow down journey adventure to find the answer, your retention of that knowledge is like exponentially better than when the knowledge comes so quickly using AI. So for me, that was one of my big transformations with AI was me thinking that AI could just teach me everything and then me realizing it's too easy to learn on AI. It's actually kind of hard for me to retain all the things it tells me, unfortunately.
Easy in, easy out.
Yeah, really, honestly, but I do love it. I have a son that just turned 12, and we like to play, with Siri in the car, and we like to ask Siri questions, and so this is like intro to AI. This is what I call my intro to AI class, and he's very into Japan, so the other day we were driving to baseball practice, and he wanted to know where the origin of the cherry blossom trees came from. And we actually discovered that they came from China and they were a gift from the Emperor of China to the Emperor of Japan. And, those kinds of things that, why not? Instead of listening to music, it's kind of fun to go on that exploratory adventure of a learning experience because kids have a million questions. So we can learn together with AI in our cars while we're on a drive and be interactive with our kids and use it as a teaching session while we're learning too. So that's kind of fun. Um,
Yeah. I
but the
think
littles are not there yet. Although Indy likes to ask Siri for pictures of things. Mommy, can I see a picture of a velociraptor? And
that's safe.
yeah, Siri, Siri, show me a picture of a timber wolf. That's her extent of using AI is she wants it to show her pictures of the animals mostly. But
I
yeah,
mean, that sounds lovely. I think an important part of like the way we learn, back to the trying and failing, is before you ask AI, like even just trying it on your own, right? And so it's like, where do we think cherry blossoms could have come from? Like, what are some possibilities? We already have the internet, which can get us answers quickly, right? And there's just a palpable difference at a dinner table when you have a conversation, ask questions, and like showing your kid it's okay not to know things like, oh, I don't know. I wonder. Let's find out. Let's think about it, right? And there's that like pause before answering, right? And that's how like classrooms work too, right? And I think AI is potentially even more at the ready than like even search is. And it's just like teaching the pause before AI. Like we going to write for business. It is so tempting to just be like, go do this for me, Claude. Right. And there's this I pause and think, is this something that matters that I wrote it? Or is it okay if AI got involved? Right? Like and there is this discernment, and that's what I really hope I'm still working on, right? But that's really what I want to like help teach my kids. I think it's what we're all figuring out as a society is this like discernment when to use it. And frankly, when is it right or wrong? Right? Like it is wrong a lot of the time. And so you have to fact check it and babysit it, right? And that's what I think of is like, is it faster for me just to write this, even if it's something that like doesn't really matter if AI did it? Or is it faster to ask AI and then fact check it? And a lot of times it's just faster for me to do it.
oh, totally. And then there's this like now that so much of writing has is being done by AI,
Mhm.
there's this tangible beauty to things that have been written by humans.
Mhm.
And feeling that almost that poetry and that tangible human quality to the actual words that I write versus the way that AI writes, it almost makes me feel like a better writer in that
You're like
I
such a badass, Amy. AI has made us feel more like badasses.
it really has. Like honestly, AI has given me more confidence as a writer. And I also feel like AI also taught me how to be a better writer in a lot of ways. It really did. But it also I don't know. There's something just beautiful about the way that I don't know. I'll just grab my note. I'll get an idea, I'll get a download about something. I'll get a ping on something as I've been writing this book and I just talk it into the notes in my, in my phone. And I'll come back to it. And there's just something so beautiful about just the messy humanness of the way that I think. That's so different than the I know everything way that AI writes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
So
less exploration with AI for sure. Like it doesn't sit in the middle very well. It's a reversion to the mean. And so back to thinking of like their different data sets and inputs to each AI, it's like that dictates what their average is. Like the middle of that is the output that they're giving you. And so that's where I think these like applied applications give you a more contained and hopefully like higher quality data set. So your mean gets a little bit higher, your average gets a little bit higher, and there's some things where average is totally fine. Like do the average on the stuff you hate,
oh,
but
I mean, if it's like a newsletter, like email that's gonna go out a weekly, I
can
mean,
you
yeah.
summarize this podcast?
Summarize my podcast, yeah, and help me summarize it for my Substack, That's so cool, I love that. Because if you're on Substack and you wanna have access to what I'm doing on my show and you'd rather read it than watch it,
And you
that's
don't
so
have an
cool.
hour.
Yeah, I mean, I love to read, especially when I'm with my kids, there's no way I can watch anything or listen to anything. It's, if I'm having quiet time with everybody, I could read a Substack, but I can't really watch a podcast. And it's even hard for me to listen to podcasts because I'm rarely ever alone anymore, even in the car.
I read a lot of podcasts. Like, because I
Yes.
can also read it faster than watching. I will go to the transcript if it's available and like
100%, 100%. So, I mean, we're basically raising our kids in a brand new world that we weren't raised in. Our mamas didn't teach us how to do this. So, we're basically trying to teach our kids how to use AI as a tool, but not allowing it to replace our creativity or our critical thinking or our human connection.
yeah, or a
Like,
personality, like the fun in life. Like,
yes,
yeah,
totally. Yeah, it will take the personality out of your writing. It definitely takes the you out of it.
yeah,
I've noticed.
yeah.
There's
It's not
definitely
you.
it's not you. It might kind of sound like you. It might be I love the trompe l'oeil pictures from, the French painters who would be like, this is not, this is not the cat. No, this is a painting of a cat. And I kind of feel like AI is a little bit of that. It's a little bit of a synthetic version of humanity. It can do some things. It should do the mundane things. It should never
Mhm.
do the creative work that humans do. It shouldn't write our books. It shouldn't write our movies. It shouldn't paint our paintings. Human beings still have this tangible undefinable creativity. It's the one thing that defines us, like, as a species. I remember I have a degree in art history, and I showed up at UCI, and the very first day, the teacher basically looked at the class and said, "What is art?" And everybody was like, and art is this uniquely human thing that we do. Like, we are uniquely creative animals, and we don't wanna lose that to a machine, you know? Yeah.
I don't.
I don't either.
And I
No.
hope I think that's a decision that people are having to make now is what are you willing to cede to AI and what are we keeping to ourselves? And I'm starting to develop my boundaries on that and I hope everyone does and a society. Like I hope we're like, no, this is a no AI space.
100%. Like, I hope AI gives us more time. It's able to take mundane tasks off of our plate and then gives us more
Mhm.
time to go hang out with our girlfriends
Yeah.
or talk to our financial advisor or take a course on finance, hop in your app and learn how to get better at things.
Go buy some AI stock so we're all reaping the rewards. Like,
Right? Yeah.
like
Yes.
like I'm not a big like go buy individual stocks person, but generally I think owning the means of production is really, really important. So when it's pricing you out of a job, right? Like you're still benefiting from the technology.
That's really smart. I actually never even looked at it that way. But you're 100%. As AI picks up more of the jobs, the low level and mundane jobs that are out there, you're right. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that, participating at least on the stock side of things and own some of that? If it's going to pick up some of the other parts where it might hurt us a little, we need definitely, women especially, we're going to have to figure out how to pivot through this time. It's going to be an interesting pivot for us because we already make less money than men do. So making that adaptation to the technology so that we don't get left in the dust is going to be real important for us and for our children.
Yeah, change is constant, but it's also our opportunity to help close this equity gap. It's change is opportunity, but we have to take it. And that's not to say like I think we've heard from both of us, it's not like 100% like go rah rah AI. It's just like use the tools available to us. And but change really does open, just like I do think AI is challenging a lot of jobs. I also think there will be like humans are endlessly creative. We will invent far more jobs. It might take a little bit more time, but every single time we've thought the industry was going to reduce the labor force, it's increased it, right? And it's like, but these are the opportunities where change can happen, and that's social change along with technological change.
I think social change is going to be one of the biggest things that we see as a byproduct of this industrial revolution. I really think that this is the one. This is going to be the big one for women. I think that women are really going to benefit from the new washing machine that AI is. And I really do think that we are going to have a significant social impact because of this technology. That's what I'm really looking forward to. Like women like you that are taking this tool and basically making something that can make women even smarter, better, more adapted, more capable, so that we can create equality.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100. Thank you so much. You're the absolute best. If anybody wants to find you, where do we go? What do we do?
Yeah. So you can go access the app at huntresswealth.com. You can sign up on the wait list, and we're opening up the beta, so we'll get you in real quick. You can also follow us on Instagram, and it's just at Huntress Wealth.
Okay, good. We will.
Oh,
We will.
and we have a podcast too. It's called Talk Rich to Me, and we talk about life and money, and hopefully make money less of a taboo topic.
Perfect. And that one's everywhere. You guys are everywhere with Talk Rich to Me, and I have one. I'm on there too, so go listen to mine. If you're interested. Well, you are amazing. I'm so happy to hear, I mean, to see you evolving as a woman and embracing the technology that's here, these tools, and I'm so happy to have you in our Manage Her ecosystem. You're just awesome.
It's
So
always a pleasure, Aimee. Thank you.
as I've been writing the Cultivate Her, one of the ideas I've been exploring is that technology should expand human potential, not replace it. As I've been writing the Cultivate Her, one of the ideas I've been exploring is that technology should expand human potential, not replace it. When you imagine the future, what uniquely human qualities become even more valuable? Do empathy, wisdom, judgment, discernment, relationships become our greatest competitive advantage? One of the reasons I love welcoming guests back onto the manager is because we get to witness something that's often invisible: growth. When Stephanie first joined us, Huntress Wealth was still taking shape. Today, she returned with a new vision, not because her mission changed, but because the world did. That's leadership. Leadership isn't stubbornly holding on to yesterday's strategy. Leadership is having the courage to ask, what does my mission require now? As I write the Cultivate Her, I keep returning to the metaphor of a garden. A wise gardener doesn't resent the changing seasons. She pays attention to them. She knows when it's time to plant. She knows when it's time to prune, when it's time to harvest, and when it's time to begin again. Technology is simply another season. AI isn't the destination. Human flourishing is. The question isn't whether AI will shape the future. It will. The question is whether we'll meet that future with wisdom, with integrity, and with the courage to keep growing. If today's conversation encouraged you, share it with another woman who's navigating change in her business, her career, or her family. And if you're enjoying AI Month here on The Manager, subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. We've got more conversations ahead exploring how women can use artificial intelligence to amplify, not replace, the gifts that make us uniquely human. Because women have been leading all along, and the future needs that leadership now more than ever. Thank you for listening to The Manager. I'll see you next Monday.